Hello guys, Ghoul Got You here, bringing you another Black Ops 3 gameplay, this time on Nuketown, which recently came out free for everyone. It's a remake from the Black Ops 1 map and the Black Ops 2 remake of the Black Ops 1 remake. This is a remake of those two remakes, but it's a lot of fun. It's a really small map, really close range, means you can get an awful lot of kills, an awful lot of interactions. But moving on, today is part 3 of my weight loss series, and last week I left off with part 2 talking about how I'm not very big-headed. I don't really like amping myself up. I don't really like, speaking highly of myself to other people. So I've kept this weight loss thing very, very quiet. And there's multiple reasons for that. One, it's my own self-esteem. Two, I don't really like making a big deal of things, because if the worst happened and I was to get big again, I wouldn't want to make such a big deal of getting small and then to have that all ruined by getting big. Personally, I don't really want that sort of dynamic in my life. I like to just do things and then surprise people with it, because the reaction you get is really nice, and reactions is quite a big part of helping me maintain the weight loss, and that's what this episode is going to be about. It's about losing the weight and helping maintain that lifestyle, because what I really want to stress, and I've had a few people come out the woodwork and ask me what my diet plan is, what I'm doing, what exercise I'm doing, and so on and so forth. And even though it's all in these videos, not everyone watches these videos, so I really want to put another disclaimer that one, you can't do what Joe Blogs does, and what I mean by that is you can't do what everyone else does. You need to find out what you need to do. You need to find out what's good for you, your body, and also your personality, because that's a big thing. Something I found that's helped me an awful lot, which is something I've always quite struggled in life, is that I'm a very fussy eater. Always been a very fussy eater. Things like, I dislike onions, which are in practically everything. So I always have to pick them out or force them down or not eat it. Don't like butter. Don't really like milk. I mean, the list of things I don't like, and anyone who knows me very well knows how awkward it can be. There's an awful lot of things I don't like, and that really has made cutting out the bad stuff an awful lot easier, because just not liking things like, I don't like tomato sauce, I don't like brown sauce, I don't like any of those condiments which are just sugar and salt. I don't like butter, which people put on a lot of things, which is really bad for you. I've never really been a fan of milk and dairy as a whole, and in my opinion, humans aren't meant to drink baby cow milk. We're just not. It's there to fatten up calves, not humans. But the big point there, it's there to fatten up calves. So the word fatten up means that it's very high in fat. Not good for you. Our body doesn't process milk that well, so that's one reason that I'm happy to be off it. But I am fortunate that there's a lot of food I don't like, so it really means that I have a very minimalist diet anyway, and my old minimalist diet was pizza and microwave meals. Now it's rice and chicken. And what's funny is I was literally in the co-op today, and I live in a very, very small village. It's actually called a hamlet, and it's in North Essex, and it's a lovely little Roman village. It's very medieval, it's very old, but to the point, the co-op lady today said, "Oh wow, I've noticed that the past year you've been buying rice and chicken." And for her to notice that just goes to show that how habitual I am with food, and that's something that I brought up in the first episode, bad habits. From the term bad habits, I really want you to just take the word habit. Habit is the key word, and now what you need to build is good habit. But as I said, the important word is habit. You need to make it a habit. I had bad habits, and what habits means is repetitiveness. It means doing the same thing again. I'm a very habitual person. I've always eaten the same. I do the same stuff. I watch the same stuff. I like to get in these patterns. And again, that's something that's helped me out. I really don't mind having rice and chicken nigh on every day. A lot of the times I swap rice for sweet potato or jacket potato, boiled potato, some other form of carbohydrate that isn't too bad for you, but also has some fat in it, because something you also have to be careful of is losing weight too quickly. And I've actually lost quite a lot of weight quite quickly, so I do have to be careful, because before I know it, I could be too skinny, and that's not something I want. And that's something my father reminds me of constantly whenever I see him, is that you're getting too skinny, you're getting too skinny. And the reality is that he doesn't see me with my top off, and not many people do, and that's where the rest of my work is just toning up and tightening up. It's not a case that I want to be super skinny or anything like this. I just want to be healthy. And this is something I really want to stress for a second or third time, is that this isn't a diet. This isn't a 6-month thing that once it's over, I go back to how I was. This is it. This is my lifestyle change, and it is a lifestyle change. I've changed my lifestyle. Now, I've repeated that 3 times for a reason, to try and get it through to people, because people think you can just get on a diet, get skinny, and then boom, your life's sorted. You can't. I mean, as soon as you get on that diet, your body gets used to the intake of food, and then once that intake changes, say you've been on your diet for 3 months, 6 months, 1 month, 1 week, whatever it is, once you start eating food again and eating fatty food and that, your body is just going to reset to how it was and start storing those fats heavily. So it's a lifestyle change. You need to change your eating life, and that means permanently. That means doing what I'm doing forever. Now, it doesn't mean I've got to eat rice and chicken forever. Rice and chicken isn't the only meal, but it is a meal that is really easy for me to explain and to use as an example of what to eat, because it's very clean, you know, just rice and just chicken. What I add to the rice and chicken tends to be a little bit of coconut oil to keep it moist, because it can get very dry, rice and chicken. And then I use either fajita mix, a curry powder, whatever it is. I use a powdered form of seasoning or sauce, and then I make that sauce with just water and coconut oil, very little coconut oil, mostly water. Pour it over the rice and raw chicken, and what I do is then put that in a tin foil package that I make, just a little parcel made of tin foil, put it in the oven for 30 minutes, boom, done, baked. Rice and chicken, it's flavoursome, it's tasty, but more importantly, it's very good for you. And what one of my best friends said to me once, who's a health fanatic, is that you could eat as much rice and chicken as you want. You can eat as much rice and chicken as you want. And what he means by that, he doesn't mean every 5 minutes of the day having a massive portion of rice and chicken, but what he does mean is that I can have that meal more than I could have other meals and get away with it. That's what he means. People who love eating, and I love eating. I think a lot of people do, but I also love food, and I loved bad food, because the reality is I've had takeaways a couple of times since my lifestyle change, and it just doesn't agree with you anymore. Once you start pushing healthy, the bad stuff is so much more noticeable. It's unbelievable. Okay, so I've only got a couple of minutes of this gameplay left and this video series, which I actually intend to carry on a lot more sporadically and give you updates. I don't want to give weekly updates, because, which I'll get to in a minute in my top 3 tips for losing weight, but yeah, I thought it'd be nice just to give my top 3 tips and round up this whole series in a nutshell, really. So my top tip number 1, build good habits. And by building good habits, you have to recognise what your bad habits are, and you have to really recognise them and face them forward. If you eat, some people I know get large, not from eating massive meals or loads of takeaways. Maybe they like snacks, so in between meals they're having a lot of crisps, they're having a lot of chocolate, a lot of biscuits. Some of my friends may well in the office or at work have 5-6 biscuits with their cup of tea. That's something that needs to change. You have 1 biscuit or no biscuits, or you have something nice. I mean, humans have got in this innate ability to want more in life now, and when we want more, we can have more. So we eat more and we get bigger, and before we know it, it snowballs out of control. So top tip number 1 is to build the good habits. You have to find a food that's healthy but you love. That's what's important for me. I found food that I loved that is healthy, and that was a big change for me, because when I was young, I thought all healthy food was horrible. I think that's what a lot of kids think, is that all healthy food is nasty and all bad food is lovely. It's not true. You just need to learn how to cook healthy food. And I'm no chef, but at the same time, I'm pretty alright in the kitchen. I can manage, I can cook pretty much anything. It's not really too much of a problem. I can follow instructions very easily. But my top tip number 2 is to simply ask for advice and look up information. As I said before, don't pay for advice. Don't pay for someone to get you thin or to give you advice on thin, because if you're paying someone, they then have an agenda. Ask a friend who's really good with health, or more importantly, read. You just need to read. The internet is so full of wisdom, it's unbelievable, and not all of it is correct, but you just need to use your gut to figure out what's right and wrong. Humans know what's good for them, what's bad for them. Just use your natural instincts. And finally, my final and most important step, step 3, is to not Weight Watch. Now, I really want to stress this, that don't get on the scales every day. Do it once a week, once every 2 weeks, or even less. I don't have scales, so whenever I go to my father's house, that's whenever I weigh myself, and that tends to be once a week, once every 2, occasionally once a month. So I tend to weigh myself then, because, as I said in the previous episode, just like watching a clock at work, if you watch your weight go up and down, it's going to be so much more stressful, because from day to day you're going to be, why haven't I lost this much weight? Why haven't I lost this much weight? Why have I lost this much weight in 1 week and put on weight a week later? Why have I put on twice the amount of weight a week later and then lost 3 times the amount? It fluctuates so much that don't look at the scales. Do it sporadically. See your loss and then carry on with the good habits. I really want to stress that all you've got to do, and I know this sounds silly, but it's as simple as this. All you've got to do is eat well. And I know that sounds simple, but that's all it takes. I've done hardly any exercise. I run a mile every other day, and that's not much. That's not much exercise at all. So what I want to stress is eat healthy and you can lose the weight. And if someone would have told me it's that simple, I would have just thought, oh, it's not really that. So you've got to join a gym, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to do this. And you overcomplicate things. And you overcomplicate things because in your heart, you don't think you can do it. And the reality is you can do it. I've said this in every episode. You can do it. You just have to do it. That's all we've got time for today, guys. I hope you learned something. I hope you've taken something from this series. And I'll speak to you soon. See you later, guys. Bye.